Welcome 108th Wing to your first ever virtual UTA.
Good morning, Jersey Tigers. I hope this video finds you safe and healthy.
Alright, the way this is going to work is Chief and I are going to go back and forth through some discussion for the first 20 to 25 minutes. And then we're going to have Donna feed us questions that you guys are putting on Facebook right now. So I'm figuring this will take about 35, 40 minutes and we'll try to get all your questions answered. So the first thing I want you guys to know is my number one priority is the safety of our airmen and their families. Please continue to follow the CDC and state and national guidance. Continue all your safe hygiene practices and your social distancing. Try to keep your circle small. What I'm doing with my family is no one's allowed in my house. When I come to work, I see the same 4 to 5 people every day, and I don't interact with a lot of people from the neighborhood. I don't go to a lot of different stores that I wouldn't normally go to, just the necessities. And basically, my circle is really small the last 5 to 6 weeks to reduce the risk of exposure. So that's the first thing I want to say. The next thing I'm going to do is go to the current situation. I'm going to try to break this down into the federal level, down to the state, down to the joint base, and into our wing. So on the federal side of the house, our PACON deployment is still ongoing. You know, we have about 60-some people over there in Guam right now. We have a rotator going this week to replace some people, to bring some people home. RCP-4, the Security Forces deployment, is on hold. Right now, we're reducing the tanker burden in PACOM and CENTCOM for the short term. The number of crews and tails is going down for the next 6 months. We're picking up a second long-term MPA line for AMC help from 1 June to 30 November, so we'll have 2 Lima lines. And the cyber mode, they're trained yesterday and today and tomorrow, and they will still be mobilizing this fall, so that is on track. As far as the state side of the house, the way this works is we have a lot of missions going on right now, and what happens is the local and state response to this pandemic is happening, and then what happens to the regional operational center and then the joint operational center, they look for capability gaps. So what the state and local government can't handle, or they don't have enough personnel, they ask the Guard for help. So right now, the JOC identifies areas where the air AFSCs kind of fit into what they're looking for. So right now we have 77 airmen from the 108th Wing at 10 different state sites. And we have over 100 people that have volunteered on top of that. So thank you very much for your volunteerism and being willing to assist your local community. Right now, some of our missions are public affairs, tons of medical personnel. We have liaison officers working at the JOC. We have planners. We have security details. We have mortuary affairs details. We have food service, admin, executive officers, information technology, chaplains, logistics. You name it, we're helping the state out right now. Like I said, over 153 total between the 177th and us, and over 350 or so Army soldiers also. All of these volunteers, a lot of them started on state active duty orders, but they've all been transitioned to Title 32. So it's a thing called 502F that the President granted us, where we're actually using Title 32 funds to pay for this. As far as the joint base, right now we are HPCon Charlie. Mission essential only. You are not allowed to come on this base unless you are mission essential. For the Guard and Reserves, what that means is you have to be in uniform going through the gate, and you have to be critical to what's going on with the mission on a daily basis. Right now our footprint for the 108 is less than 100 people on a daily basis coming here out of our 400 full-timers and our 1,200 for the wing. So we have less than 100 person footprint every day. And anytime you're in a public area where you can't maintain 6 feet of separation, you have to be wearing a face covering. So when I go to the shop at face covering, if I go to the commissary, face covering. Right now, the Chief and I and all the PA, we're 6 feet apart. That's why I have this off. It'd be kind of hard to hear us if we had the face thing on right now. So that's what's going on with the joint base. The 108th Wing, we have very few positive COVID-19 right now. Very few positive. Not allowed to give the aggregate numbers, but you guys are doing a great job with the social distancing and the hygiene and following the state, local, federal guidance. I appreciate that. All the missions are continuing right now. All the things that we do on a daily basis, we're still doing. It might be at a reduced pace, but all the missions that we do are still happening. And the reason we're doing the hard cruise for the tanker world and the hard cruise for alert for the C-32 and the silver and blue teams for maintenance is to reduce that footprint and limit exposure. All regular meetings are happening virtually right now, so our manpower meetings, our rack and stacks, our stand-ups, our CAB, community action board, all the stuff that we're doing in the next couple weeks and what we've done the last couple weeks, we're doing virtually, so all the work is still getting done. In fact, we're actually catching up on some of our paperwork, which is nice. OPRs, EPRs, PAAs, all that important stuff. And then the last, this is new information. I got permission yesterday from General Kennedy. We will be doing another virtual drill in May. So in 2 weeks, we'll probably do something like this again if we get good feedback from this. So come on May 2nd and May 3rd being a virtual drill. And the last thing, this is some interesting news. We're supposed to be having our NORI right now. We're supposed to be in the middle of it, as a matter of fact. And the NOR read that we did in March, there's an idea that at IGN for AMC, that if they look at all of our results from what we did in March, they may be able to give us a grade for our NORI. It's a virtual ORI. Okay, so that determination is being made at the higher levels right now, so keep your fingers crossed that we can get NORI credit for what we did in March. And that's all I have for the current situation. Let's hand it over to Chief Rivera.
All right. So since our #1 priority right now is protecting airmen, that comes with your resiliency and your mental health. So now is a great time to execute those 4 pillars that we've been learning about under resiliency. You have your physical side, and I realize everybody's getting creative. Maybe you don't have access to running right now, but a lot of the parks are closed. So I just ask that you get creative. There's tons of videos online. You can do it right in your home. There's the spiritual side. The chaplains are having a virtual service tomorrow morning. So I suggest you take advantage of that. The social pillar. So right now, we're hearing a lot about social distancing, but for me, that's more physical distancing. I ask that you remain social, call your family, call your friends. I even suggest the phone calls over texting. There's nothing like hearing somebody's voice or seeing their face over FaceTime. And then there's the mental pillar. So for the mental health, I ask that you avoid overexposure to media coverage, maintain a sense of hope and positive thinking. Please use your resources. Jill Barrett, our psychological health director, she has a lunch and learn today and tomorrow from noon to 1. Use your shirts, your chaplains. We have chaplains on orders, correct, boss?
Yep.
And but finally, right now, everybody is coping differently. Some people are fighting depression, they're fighting anxiety, and then some people are just hard chargers and they're taking it on. So I ask that you be compassionate and patient with everyone. That's all I have, sir.
Okay, my turn. Next thing I'm going to cover is commander priorities and try to cover the calendar for the next 3 to 6 months as best I can. So the commander priorities coming down from the top, and I also emphasize these are protect the airmen and their families, protect the mission, and protect the community. So protect the airmen and families, same thing we've been talking about for the first 15 minutes. Reduce exposure risk. Limit your circle. Practice all the things that we've been doing the last 6 weeks that are working. Our numbers are very, very low in the wing. You guys are doing a great job, so continue the great work. Protect the mission. That's stay healthy. That'll hand in hand with protecting the families, and stay ready. We're going to talk about readiness here in a second when I go my next section after the chief talks. Protect the community. Continue to volunteer. Continue to raise your hand to help with all those state missions that we're doing. Support those job taskings, and a lot of times in the Army they have a JRSOI, which is like reception and staging, and basically it puts you through the ringer of all the stuff. Basically our IMR, and just think about what you do before you deploy. So the Army has the same thing. So if you have all your ducks in a row, it's easier to volunteer, raise your hand. You can actually go through that process within a day and get put on mission. So please continue to be ready at all times. As far as the calendar, so I just announced that May is going to be another virtual drill. May is also MIC May. A lot of these things you can do virtually from your house, teleworking, or if you do come in once or twice a week and get that done. In June, I can't tell you what the drill is going to look like. I don't know if it'll be a reduced footprint here. I don't know if it'll be another virtual drill. So be patient with me on that. We'll see how this thing if we get over the hump here at the base. In June, I am going to roll out the unit self-assessment program. Okay, so that's something that's on my whiteboard in my office. It's something that I want to get done this year, and I see no better time than to dust off the regs and looking at what you should be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, semi-annual, annual basis. So you will be an expert in how to assess your unit and whether you're compliant here after I give you guys some training in June. July is off for us. August was supposed to be a family day, big huge gathering out at Doughboy Field. Don't know if that's going to happen. So stand by. We have the cyber mode this fall. Okay, that's still on track. They're supposed to move in place. And then the November flyaway. The flyaway, everyone was supposed to go the 13th, which is the Friday before drill. And then we're taking the 500 to 550 people down the golf court the 14th to the 19th. That is still my desire. Okay, well, we'll see how that looks here in November. We'll be allowed to do something like that. That might be a reduced footprint, but my goal is to work hard down there and be done at a certain time every day, and then have a lot of fun at night and do some parties and bring the wing together and see what everybody does in different organizations in the wing, become more of a family, kind of like the old days where you knew everybody from every shop. So that's my goal for November. And in December, we'll do our commander's call, our holiday parties and all that. But stand by. I do not know what the new normal is after this. So I appreciate your flexibility and appreciate your patience. Chief?
All right. So as you know, there's been just a flooding of guidance coming out, extensions, and your leadership, they're doing a great job trying to pour through all of this and get the word out. But some of the topics I'd like to touch on is the fitness test. So if you were due in March, it's now in September. April testing is now October, and May testing is now November. That is the current guidance. There has not been any new release for June, so stand by on that. Retirements, there is not currently a stop loss, so if you are scheduled for retirement, it is still a go. For dress and appearance, the new AFI 362903, it came out on April 2020. Just a summary of the changes. They've included the OCPs and the two-piece flight suits, and an addition of various religious accommodations. And also, we're talking about the cloth face masks. So the Air Force has released guidance. The CDC is recommending us to wear face masks, but the Air Force has released guidance on the types of colors we can wear. So please keep an eye out for that. It's basically posted on every social media site, and but we just ask that it be tasteful. And the last topic I have is individual medical readiness. I know right now it's hard to stay ready for dental and optometry. Civilian doctors are canceling all their appointments. So the PHAs have been extended for 90 days past your expiration date if you're expiring before 27 June. That includes for flyers, unless you're deploying within the next 60 days. So good stuff with extensions.
Okay. All right, next section I have is how can you guys help? Hopefully 1,200 people watching this. Some of you guys are probably still in your pajamas. Anyways, how can you guys help? The first one is be ready. That's just not staying current and qualified. Here's what I mean by being ready. This is the same thing I've been harping on for the last 18 months. Are you physically able to help the state out, physically able to do your federal mission? And if you're not, that's okay. Just is there a plan to get you to that point? Mentally, the chief already covered it. Do you have in your mind, hey, they might call me up, something might happen in the world where I have to go. Are you ready mentally to prepare to handle that? Are you mentally ready to handle some of these taskings? Some of these taskings are not pretty that we're doing up in North Jersey right now. The mortuary affairs one is a very high demand, very mentally tasking mission to deal with human remains and stuff. So, in fact, Chief Rivera and I are going to go visit some of these sites on Tuesday. Financially, look what's happened to people if you're self-employed or you're part of a small business or a non-essential business. Do you have 3 to 6 months of savings saved up to pay your bills and buy your groceries and pay your insurances and your rent and your mortgage? Do you have 3 to 6 months of savings saved up to get us over the hump where you're not worried about financial issues? Do you have dependent care plans? If something like this happens in the future, which it most likely will in the next 5 to 10 years, or if you have to get sent away to help out and serve your country, do you have plans for your kids to be taken care of? So dependent care plans are hugely important this time. But teleworking, all the schools are closed, I think extended to May 15th right now in the Jersey area. Do you have a plan for that? And then here's one for you that I'm not a prepper by any means, but I'm starting to become one. Do you have PPE in your house? Do you have supplies to last 3 to 4 months of dried foods? I mean, you don't have to, like I have a pantry full of, like I said, prepper stuff, but personal protective gear and safety masks and a way to get clean water and just medical supplies, okay? And first aid kits and that kind of stuff. So this is the time to kind of readdress how your house looks and could you survive in your house for 2 months if there was a full lockdown. So think about those kind of things. Next thing is be flexible. Don't be set in your ways. Be open-minded. Okay? Be open-minded to new ideas, open-minded to trying things differently. And you never know, some of the greatest ingenuity in our country has been out of necessity. So you watch, some of these things that we're doing virtually now, some of our meetings are actually going faster and they're more efficient and we get more done because people are reading the read-aheads, they have their questions written down, and a meeting that takes an hour in person, there's a lot of interaction with body language and stuff that you need and a lot of social things, but you can also be very efficient with using some of these virtual tours. So just be open-minded. Don't be afraid to learn something new. Don't be lazy with technology. A lot of times my kids show me all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to learn one more my meeting, or go to my meeting, or one more Zoom, or one more Skype, or one more, but you know what? A lot of these platforms, like My Teams, I think My Teams is pretty cool. I think the CVR is working. I think Zoom's working. I think the what's the thing we use for our stand-ups? DOC? DCS. Yeah, that's working. I mean, sometimes we have problems with the mute button and stuff. But other than has Trevor done it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not supposed to call it done. All right. I think about golf clubs. You know, if you're a golfer, there's a lot of different clubs in your bag, and every one of them is designed to do something specifically. Don't be afraid to use the club it's designed for. So just don't be lazy. Try to learn new stuff, and guess what? You'll be the grandfather that can actually program their VCR. For all you old hats, I used to have to always program my parents' VCR. Be flexible. Put your mission ahead of your personal preferences. Think about what our country and our state need right now. Put that above what you need right now. Next one, be positive. The subordinates are watching you. Okay? The community is watching you. Everybody wants to know what I think about this. All my neighbors, all the social media, all the phone calls I get, all the texts. Everybody is watching how I handle this. And am I freaking out? And am I worried? And am I flustered? And I'm not. I've never been. I don't worry about this kind of stuff. I live in faith, not fear. That's just my personality, okay? Be patient. Your leaders are transparent. General Kennedy tells me everything. He's not holding things back. I tell you guys everything. I promise you, when I find things out, and the chief finds things out, we will tell you. I'm not holding anything back, okay? As soon as I know the information, I will get it to you. I have nothing to hide. Sometimes decisions take time. If you wonder why we don't pull the trigger on some things, you know, the minute you bring it up to me, here's why. I was taught by my team, or my leaders the last 31 years, get all the facts, okay? Weigh risk versus reward, and then make a decision based on all that information. And I don't make it in a vacuum. I ask for help on those decisions, and then execute. Okay? You'll be, in the last 4 to 5 weeks, we are executing. We're spending our innovation funds. We're doing our manpower meetings. We're putting resources where they need to be. So once you have the facts, it's easy to make decisions. Next one, be patient. Already covered that one. Be confident. We are the greatest Air Force in the world. We will figure this out. I am not afraid. Our leadership is good. Our wing is awesome. We know how to get the mission done. Be confident that we can get through this. Don't be scared. Chief, what you got?
All right. So a lot of you may be enrolled in CDCs and PME right now. So just a little status update on this. The CDCs are currently under a 3-month extension. So that should take you into June. For PME, a lot of you probably know In Residence is being canceled, but I'm starting to see certain residents, they're going to do it virtually. I know my course that I'm doing in July is now considered virtual. I just got an email yesterday about the First Sergeant Academies. They're going virtual. But if you haven't heard about your course yet, we can still use correspondence. Your UTM can still get with the wing training and do a one-on-one testing if you are coming close to due, and you can always ask for an extension on your PME. Promotion boards. So this weekend is going to be our first telephonic promotion board for the NCOs tomorrow morning. So we'll see how that goes, but it will be totally telephone. We're not going to use Zoom, so I can't say they're not going to be in their PJs when they're doing their promotion board tomorrow. But I would love feedback on how that went. And since May is going to be a virtual drill as well, May we're having NCO and senior NCO promotion boards. So if we can get some lessons learned before that, that would be great. And the last thing I'd like to touch on is the Enlisted Summit. Currently scheduled for 31 August and 1 September, and it is still scheduled. So please feel free to volunteer and go. It's going to be up at Seegert. 177. Oh boy. I think it's at Seegert. So please still enroll in that, and let's keep moving.
All right, my turn.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to cover something a little bit fun. We're going to go over the fitness contest results.
Okay.
So this is we had a good time with this. This went from March 8th to April 8th, and if you're on the Fitness Challenge app, as much as I was looking at it, my family thinks I'm crazy how often I was looking at that, but I'm a pretty competitive guy if you guys haven't noticed that yet. Anyway, so here we go. So we're going to start with the team awards. So third place with the third highest average for their whole team, it was an 8-person team, goes to Chasing the Dream. And here's the team members. It was Kyle Bean, Nate Gladden, Mario Barra, Mike Clevin, Scott Martin, Demetrius Reyes, Marco Rivera, and Jamie Sims. So that was third place for Chasing the Dream. And I want to know who was doing miles on April at 9, 10 o'clock at night, because you were sneaking up on Top Cats, and you made me go down to my treadmill and run 6 extra miles so we'd stay in second place. I want to know who that was. Anyways, second place goes to Top Cats. That was Tom Coppinger, Chief Rivera, Angie Miller, Brian Hamill, Dennis File, Nimir Loriano, Jeremy Lighty, and myself. So that was second place. And then the grand prize winners for the highest average for their 5-person team was good old Granny Legs. And Granny Legs was Wayne Miller, Tony Martinez, Sean Cooper, Dominic Santopietro, and Alexis Clark. So congratulations to all the teams. Individual awards, the top 3 individuals that weren't part of a team. Third place goes to Sam Gage. All right, congratulations to him. He had 155 miles of running. Second place went to Nathaniel Petraeus. He had 376 miles biking and 141 miles running. And in the first place individual was Mr. Todd Woodward, my compatriot there that I was running against the whole month. He had 7.8 miles of swimming, 398 miles of biking, and 127 miles of running. So congratulations to all those winners. And if I didn't say in the beginning, all my prizes were kind of like things that we could do together. And right now I have to revise that, so stand by, but the prizes will be cool, I guarantee it. All right, let's go through the most swimming miles. Most swimming miles was Mr. Todd Woodward at 7.8 miles. The most biking miles, this is pretty impressive. This is Chief Sylvester, 562 miles on the bike from March 8th to April. That's impressive. And then the most running miles, this is also impressive. Marco Rivera, 265 miles of running in 31 days, whatever it was. And I got to give an honorable mention to Tony Martinez. She did 230 miles. So great job, guys. And then the last category, the person who did the most miles with a mustache. Okay? That's going to go to Nathan Petraeus out of the RS. So congratulations all you guys. We will give you guys all your awards once I can figure out how we're going to do our pizza parties and our stuff over at the Heritage Center and gift cards and all the things I have in my mind and what I'm going to give you guys. So great job on the fitness contest. It was a lot of fun. We had about 154 people on that site every day logging miles. So I thought that was a great event. I want to thank Brian Hamill for putting it all together. He's the one that got the app going. He was the one that fed me all these information and these stats. So thanks a lot, Lieutenant Hamill, for all the hard work you did with this. All right, Chief, what you got for that?
So the last thing I have to talk about is staying connected and informed. So staying informed, please use the CDC website. That is the official website. So let's use that one. And obviously, all the Joint Base, the wing, we're putting out tons of information, DMAVA, Joint Force Headquarters, so please stay informed of what's going on and the current guidance. As for staying connected, I pretty much already touched on it, but stay connected with your friends and family, whether it's through social media or the phone calls. It's so important right now. Some people, I don't know who lives by themselves, so just feel free to make a phone call. I mean, before back in the day, I would always text people and go, "Can I call you right now?" I don't anymore. I just call everybody and see how they're doing. I love to hear their voices. And another way we can stay connected is through the Air Force Connect app. If you're not a fan of social media, if you're not on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, we do have an Air Force Connect app. If you've never heard of it, and we have a lot of great groups going on in there, a lot of information flowing. So feel free to download it, and we'll get you the information you need.
All right, we're going to start doing question and answers now. I had about 4 questions from last night that I saw on the site, so I'll try to hit those first. And like I said, full transparency, if I have the answer, I will give it to you. If I don't know the answer, I'll be honest and tell you that. So a couple people have asked, what's the new norm on the base? What's the new norm in the 108? Are we going to stay with these silver and blue teams? Are we going to stay with hard crews flying? Are we going to stay with this reduced footprint? And right now, I go to the Johns Hopkins site every day and I look at where the curve is for the United States, where the curve is for our state. And, we're still at the top. We're still at the peak. And so my answer to that, the new norm, I don't know what the new norm is. I know that this reduced footprint is working because I know what the numbers are in our wing. And of the positives that we have, most of them are in North Jersey or New York. So we are not spreading the contagion on the space. We are not spreading it in the wing. So you guys are doing a fantastic job with the rules and regulations and guidelines. So I appreciate that, like I said. So the new norm is probably going to be that we're not going to jump to a 1,000-person meeting in June where we could reinfect people and do a new curve or a new peak. So I imagine the hard cruise is a great idea. We're going to keep people current. We're going to probably limit the amount of people we bring on base at one time. I know at the headquarters building, like I said, I only see the same 3 or 4 people every day. That works. So reduced footprint, we'll continue that for the next couple of months. We'll slowly bring people in as the testing gets better. As you heard what the president said about the phasing. I'm sure we can bring more people on base as we get closer to a vaccine also. So the vaccine's still 12 months out. So I can't give you a definite answer on what the new norm is. All I can say is it'll probably be a gradual approach, and as I know, you will know. As far as the joint base, the declaration of a public health emergency has been extended to 16 May. I converse with Colonel Gelati, the 87th Air Base Wing Commander, daily, and her intent is mission essential until 16 May. So this footprint will remain the same. So new norm. We're going to keep your current qualified as best we can. A lot of the rules are being waived. They're being pushed to the right. So bear with us, and as I get the information on what gets waived and what gets extended, you'll get it. Next, you got anything to add about that? Okay. Return to a safe workplace. You guys have concerns of how do we know if we come back to work it's safe. The cleaning crew around here does a great job. They did this pro bono. They actually started wiping down all the handles on our doors, our light switches. So the cleaning team's doing a great job. I know personally, I limit who comes in my office. If someone does come in, I wipe down those surfaces. The washing the hands, the not touching the face, we're all adhering to that. So when you get called back to work, we'll make sure your area is clean. The virus doesn't live forever. It lives a long time on plastic and wood and steel and that kind of stuff, but we'll make sure your office gets a good cleaning, and then we're going to ask for your help with that. So we'll make sure we have the right supplies in here so you can make sure that you're coming back and you can feel comfortable working in your work area. Future funding for training, somebody asked, since all of our training's been canceled, are we going to be able to go to Silver Flag down the road back, in Germany. Like I said, a lot of things are getting waived, so a lot of that training might be, hey, guess what, you got credit. Okay, so, but we need to keep you guys current qualified, and you gotta be able to do your AFSC if we get called for our federal mission. So we'll figure that all out, and there's a lot of money being thrown around right now from the federal government. Right now, I think the $11 billion, don't quote me on that, but $11 billion was given to the in the military to help with some of these training issues and PPE, that kind of stuff. And another one was, another question asked about, is there an appetite for maybe a combat zone tax exclusion for people working the front lines, like especially at some of these testing sites, the mortuary affairs, all that stuff. That's kind of out of my pay grade a little bit. In the uniform, I don't lobby, okay? We have a legislative liaison that we use anytime that we're interacting with the local, state, or federal government. That's Ms. Terry Dearden up at the MAVA. So I work with her, any kind of legislative issues. If you're not in uniform and you want to talk to somebody about if that's a good idea or something you want to propose, and that's up to you guys, but do it in a civilian capacity. Don't be in uniform, and I don't have a problem with that if you have some good ideas that you want to give to your local politicians. And Donna, what other questions you got you want to feed to us?
One of them goes to Chief Rivera. You might want to readdress the fitness testing information. I don't know if we covered those. How will they test for the current PME? Oh, I'm sorry, PME.
PME, okay.
And then the other one is, where can they test?
So for testing for PME, it has to be in person with a proctor. So it will be on the installation, and that is why it's a case-by-case basis. So please get with your unit training manager, and they will arrange with wing training to have you and only you come in and be proctored a test by the wing training office.
Another question was, will classes like NCOA allow more people in since utilizing virtual?
Right now, they haven't released any new guidance since last month, so they have not discussed what they're going to do with the backlog of the in-residence courses, but as soon as I find out, I'll make sure I get the word out to you all.
Side of us, which I told you about, the rock going through the jock and getting the exhorts out. And Lieutenant Colonel Fowles doing a great job with his team of finding the volunteers and getting them JRSOI'd properly and getting them to the fight. So we have the state side of the house. We have joint base MDL that we have to deal with on a daily basis. So daily we're going to their crisis action team meetings. So we're working hand in hand with them. So we have get a slew of information, weapon system councils for all the different weapon systems we have. I'm working with them on a weekly basis. So you name it, we're getting information. I get probably 250 emails a day with guidance and information and extensions and how we're going to handle things, and it changes daily. PACOM requirements, CENTCOM requirements, restriction of movements, stop movements. Every day we're getting stuff. I get it to the commanders, they get it out to you guys. So flexibility, patience. So as soon as we get all these are all great questions. And as soon as we can hunt down the answers for you, we'll get it out to you guys. What else you got?
I have a question for Chief Rivera again. Has CLEP testing been suspended?
I haven't heard anything about clip testing, so I'll look into it for you and get the word out to your chiefs and shirts.
And the last thing from Public Affairs, we just wanted to do a I didn't want the camera on me.
Too late.
For Public Affairs, we wanted to say that you can go to any of our social media platforms to get more information. We're putting stuff on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. We have a public website, 108 Wing. Just Google it; it'll come up. And coronavirus tab on there, so you can get specifics and resources from that tab as well. So check out our sites.
And I want to say thanks to the PA team. You guys are doing an awesome job. Thanks for all the information. Colonel Copperton, thank you so much for all the information that you're feeding the PA on a daily basis. He's my messaging guy, so I appreciate you, Tom. And all you guys are doing a great job. Our senior leader meetings, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you guys are giving great information. I feel like I'm getting a lot of good feedback from you guys, so keep it up. Stay safe out there. Practice all the hygiene stuff. Let's limit the transmission of this contagion. And we'll be back to somewhat of a new normal here in the next couple months. And look forward to seeing all you guys. I miss you guys. Chief, party comments?
But just so you know, like the boss said, we have weekly phone calls with all the chiefs, all the shirts, to include the 177th and Joint Force Headquarters, and all your leaders. You guys are all doing such a great job, and I can't thank you enough. So please stay safe, wash your hands, and stop touching your face. So have a great day.
All right, that's it. See ya. Good.